We're recording anyway, so we're good to go.
So this is gonna be on the show.
Yeah, this is a whole new
So
recording.
everything that we're saying right now, everyone's gonna hear.
Yeah, but I'm gonna edit that out.
All right, cool.
Yeah, because I still have to. I edit out where the counting comes in.
All right, cool. All right,
All
I'm
right,
ready.
all right. In three, two, one.
It's the start of a new month. It's the start of a new week. October has come and gone, and we are 2 months away from calling 2024 history. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy Monday. It is November 4th, 2024. Election day eve, as many are calling it. Get out there and vote. Please get out there and vote. Your voice does matter. Your opinion does matter. But we're not here to persuade anybody with any political talk. You know why I'm here. Word to Marshawn Lynch. This is Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, blog, talk radio, and the Nerdport Network. My name is Christian Simpson, and I am the creator. I'm the founder. I'm the NFL and college football analyst, blogger, radio contributor, and I started a brand called The Daily Blitz, which was created in 2010, September 6th to be exact, and we specialize in all things football 24/7, 365. As I just mentioned, if you are joining us for the first time and if you have taken a referral, one, I thank you for taking the referral. Two, I want to thank the person who referred you to me. And I hope you sit back and relax and enjoy. And if you've been here before and if you've been supporting the movement from the get go, thank you as always. And welcome back. I'm not alone this week. Ronnie, what's going on?
I'm back.
About time.
Eh.
Yeah, you threw me a curveball like late in the game last week. But look, I get life happens, it gets in the way. We got a lot to talk about. Another wild Saturday of college football. 10 weeks in, I can't believe it. First set of college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow on election day, November 5th. The NFL, of course, that didn't disappoint. Almost 9 weeks in, that concludes tonight with Monday Night Football. I got a little bit of a Super Bowl rematch that took place, what, 3 or 4 years ago? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City Chiefs. Only difference is Tom Brady was walking through the door for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers became the first team in NFL history to not only play in the Super Bowl in their own home stadium, but they ended up winning the whole thing. That ended up being Tom Brady's final Super Bowl championship as an active NFL quarterback. Now he does what I do. So we're gonna talk all of that. We're gonna go to the phone lines. You're gonna hear a little bit of music. I'm gonna answer questions. We're gonna break down what we both saw that caught our eye. We're gonna look ahead to Monday Night Football, and then after this, I'm gonna be on my way off to go do the Prime on Prime Sports World. But as I always say, if you were liking what you were hearing, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. The more supporters, the better. And if you want, also subscribe to the website, which is the dailyblitz.blog. Okay, Ronnie, I got all the infomercial stuff out the way. Let's go right into it. College football, week 10. Boise State, Ashton Gency. He does it again. First, Boise State won this game by a score of 56-24. Um, got a good day at the office from Maddox Madison. He went 24-32, 307 yards passing. He completed 70% of his 75% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think that's the most important stat of them all. But Ashton Genty, 31 carries, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Look, I still think this kid is the favorite to win the Heisman. And I know before we got on, we kind of had a little bit of a fun talk about awards, and that's another thing we're going to talk about
Vegas thinks
today.
otherwise.
Yeah, but that's another thing we're going to talk about predictions on awards in college and the NFL. But nah, Boise State is 7-1. They're 4-0 in conference play. I mean, what more do they need to do?
Uh, I think the fact that it's their schedule.
You play who you play and you beat who you beat.
That is very true, but it's also how you beat them.
Okay.
And I think one of the biggest things is the fact that when they were put up against a team that was of semi importance to them, Genty came up short. And I'm not even talking about Oregon. I'm talking about when they played in a neutral site against UNLV last week.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up his box score. Genty went for so what it says is it. So here's the thing. It says 33 carries, 128. That's not the whole story. He averaged 3 yards a carry.
Okay.
So is it death by a million paper cuts? Because he was only in the end zone once. His longest rush of the game was 16 yards, and they barely pulled out a win against UNLV, who they're probably going to see again in the exact same spot in 4 weeks.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I don't know. This whole Heisman conversation surrounding Ashton kind of reminds me a little bit of when Robert Griffin III won it. Not a lot of people were really paying attention to Baylor at that time, and Baylor's not relevant then if it's not for RG3. Again, I don't think they should hold who they play against them. Unfortunately, I know that's what they do, but it shouldn't be that way.
But so the other thing is too is like they got lucky. They don't see another team that possibly can make the Mountain West title game in Colorado State. They're undefeated. Colorado State is undefeated in conference
play.
Granted, they've lost 3 games, but their 3 losses are against Texas, Colorado, and Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
3 top-tier teams. I mean, obviously, Texas at the beginning of the year, they got smoked. Colorado's an in-state rival, and Oregon State is Oregon State. They closed the season out with Wyoming, Fresno State, and Utah State. The biggest thing is they don't touch UNLV. So if they finish out in the entire year, it's going to be Boise versus Colorado State in the Mountain West title game.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's definitely gonna be something that I think all football fans alike are gonna keep their eyes on. But where would this offense be without Ashton? Seriously.
So
he's a large part of what it is that they do.
Yeah, I mean, granted. So Maddock is stats this year is 144 completions at a 225 for 1789. So he's completing 64% of his passes, and he's thrown 17 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, though, is Genty's got 190 carries for 1525 and 20 touchdowns.
Listen, if he gets 2,000 yards, I think he's a shoo-in to win this award.
I mean, it also depends on, because right now, according to Vegas, Cam Ward and Travis Hunter are your favorites.
Yeah, and they should definitely be up there as well. But I also wanna say this: Ashton, to me, is putting together the best season I've seen from a running back since Derrick Henry in 2015. I mean, everybody can say Reggie Bush. Yeah, Reggie was great. Don't get me wrong. But did y'all not see what Derrick Henry did for the Tide that year? I mean, he pretty much ran them to a national championship.
Right. Um, I would not put Cam Ward as the favorite. The person I would put as the favorite, though, would be out of all this is Travis Hunter. Because he's doing something that's never been seen before when it comes to both sides of the ball.
He's the closest thing I've seen to Charles Woodson.
So, if you want an argument for me, it's that. But like, I can't give you an argument that Dylan Gabriel's better than Genty. No, because Oregon has had faults, especially at the beginning of the year.
And wow, you just led me to my next point. We were going to talk about Oregon getting a big win in the big house on Saturday, 38-17. Dylan Gabriel, 22 of 34, 294 yards, passing, one touchdown. Jordan James had 23 carries, $117 and one touchdown, and then a leading receiver was Trayshawn Holden. Look, this Oregon team, when I watched them, I said this last week when you weren't here. This Oregon team to me they're not as explosive as what we've seen in years past. They know how to pick their spots, and they're very efficient in doing so. I mean, Dan Lanning has become one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in college football. I mean, okay. Here, let's talk about that, Ronnie. Obviously, it's what's his name? Kirby Smart.
Yep.
Would you put Kalen DeBoer in there? I mean, I know he's had his moments with Alabama, but his track record, everywhere he's gone, he's won.
Yeah, DeBoer. I mean,
DeBoer. Dan Lanning.
Oh yeah, Lanning definitely.
Steve Sarkisian.
Yep.
And then 5.
I mean, Stiggs.
Who?
Stig.
You think so?
I mean, look at where he's been, and he, his own quote, all he does is win. Google him.
Who, Signetti?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could even give Ryan Day a little love, but we'll talk about him shortly.
Ryan Day has not beat Michigan yet.
Dabo? I mean, Dabo was still pretty good.
Dabo has been good. I mean, then you have
Lane Kiffin. Like, Lane's been pretty good. I don't know. I got to think about this one. But Oregon, like I said, Oregon handling their business over the defending champs. Michigan has lost 4 games this year. They're 3-3 in Big Ten play. Number 1 team in the country does it again. I'll tell you, this next game that we're going to talk about, Georgia, Florida, world's largest cocktail party. Dare I say it, Georgia doesn't scare me like they once did. Because I feel they're starting sluggishly and then climbing back into a football game. Carson Beck did not have a good game. 25 of 40, 309, 2 touchdowns, and he threw 3 interceptions. As a team, Georgia was able to run the ball 148 yards on 32 carries. But it just seems like teams are attacking Georgia left and right. And dare I say it, is Kentucky responsible for this?
Yeah. I mean,
because they haven't really looked the greatest since that Kentucky game. And then they lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I mean, to a point, yeah, it's definitely Kentucky's fault.
So I can say Kentucky unveiled the blueprint.
Yeah.
On really how to stick it to the Georgia Bulldogs. They're still the number 2 ranked team in the country. They did beat Florida by a score of 34-20. Man, I would love to see Florida be relevant again because it has not been some good years in the swamp. I mean, even 2020, I think, was their last solid year in the swamp.
Yeah, but that's about right.
Yeah, but since then, I mean, They're struggling with quarterback. I think Billy Napier is as good as gone.
They have to win the next 2 games to even be. If they become bowl eligible, he might keep his job. But they're 4-4 right now, and they have. Let me check real quick. Texas lost, LSU in the swamp.
Loss.
In the swamp. Ole Miss in the swamp, and at Florida State.
To close everything out?
Yep. They pretty much need to beat Ole Miss or LSU in the swamp.
Now, let me ask you.
Because they're not going into the burnt orange and beating them.
Let me ask you. Let's say they do decide to part ways with Billy. Who could you see replacing him?
Oh, I could see them going after Kiffin.
But Kiffin just signed a contract extension.
Yeah, when have you ever when have you known that for being fucking a thing?
Yeah, that's very true. Because we've seen coaches say, yeah, I'm committed to this, I'm committed to that, and then they're with a completely different university.
I mean, if they want to go in a different direction, if he's looking for a full-time head coaching, I don't think he wants to leave Washington right now, but you could always go for...
Jed Fish?
No. Well, Fisher, yes.
Jed Fisher?
But I would go Air Raid. Who's the fucking OC in Washington?
I think I know who you're talking about, too.
The former Arizona head coach.
Rich Rodriguez?
No. Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, Cliff Kingsbury?
Kingsbury, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Or I'm trying to think who else. I could think of somebody, but I don't know. Is this a desirable job? Like, that's the thing. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury actually wouldn't be bad because
is it yes, it is, because as much as Florida is one of those teams that hasn't been well, the recruiting is a mint. Recruiting in Florida is it's a freaking fantasy for some players.
Yeah, definitely. But Georgia wins this game, as I mentioned, 34-20. Miami, the Hurricanes, staying in Florida, they handled their business against Duke, but Miami's defense isn't anything to really sing about.
No, they've never been.
No. I mean, they were at one time, but now not so much.
Well, yeah. Look who was on the team when they had a stud defense.
They have now Pro Football Hall of Famers, but I mean, Cam Ward does it again. 25 of 41, 400 yards passing on the dot, and 5 touchdowns. And Restrepo, 8 receptions, 146 yards, receiving, and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. I don't know. I think they let Duke hang around a little too much and almost paid for it.
Yeah. Now,
but they still won by 22 points.
No, yeah, exactly. Now, here's a team that no one's talking about that might be a hidden... are they a hidden gem, or are they a team that no one's going to care about? And that's Notre Dame.
I know they haven't lost since...
Texas A&M.
Since NIU.
Oh,
Remember,
NIU. That's right. NIU.
I don't know, but look, everything for Notre Dame, I've always mentioned has been in place for them. Strong running game, strong offensive line. They have serviceable weapons in the passing game. And I think you could always pencil Notre Dame to be one of the elite defenses in the country.
Right.
The thing that's been holding them back has been quarterback. And I thought last year Sam Hartman coming in was going to elevate that. And he didn't have a bad year, but it wasn't what I think everyone expected. That's the thing.
I think they've had... Honestly, I think that Northern Illinois game hurts them more than anything because who have they played?
Very true.
I mean, yeah, okay. Louisville when they were ranked helps them. A&M, okay. But then they lay the egg against Northern Illinois. Then they come back and throttle Purdue. Okay. Miami of Ohio. Really? Why? Then Louisville. Then Stanford, which, okay, semi-rivalry game. What has Stanford ever been? Georgia Tech, which, are they really that good?
Yeah, right.
And then and then Navy, which Navy shot themselves in their foot. And then Virginia. Now the rest of the year, next in 2 weeks they have Virginia. They have back to back. Or no, Florida State this week. Virginia, Army in NYC, which is the Shamrock game.
That's in
Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
And then out to USC for the Shillelagh.
And you know what's funny? I remember at the beginning of the year, I heard a couple of people on ESPN talking about, the paths that Notre Dame and USC would travel, and a lot of people were saying that both Notre Dame and USC could be undefeated at the time of their meeting, and boy, were they wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Notre Dame looked dominant, but, I want to see them do this against, I want to see them do this against upper echelon competition, like a Oregon, like a Georgia, like a Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know they played Ohio State the last 2 years. They played them in 2022, and they played them in 2023.
So, all right. So I'll give you a projection right now. The projection is Notre Dame would play if Boise State gets the nod, they would play the next at-large. So it would be probably the Big 12 at-large.
Yeah.
Which would be possibly Colorado. I'm sorry,
right.
I kind of look at that and be like, and it would be a Colorado home game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Notre Dame. I think the jury is still out on them. Back to switching gears.
Yeah.
Back to some of these games. Tennessee handling their business against Kentucky. Nico Iamaleava finally went back to looking like the guy that we saw at the beginning of the year. 28-38, 292 yards passing and 1 touchdown. I know playing in conference play, he hasn't really looked the best, but it's the best I've seen him look since the beginning of the year. But how about the upset in Columbia? South Carolina, Texas A&M. Texas A&M winning that big game last week over LSU. And look, I'll just come right out and say it. They didn't turn the page. They overlooked South Carolina on Saturday night and paid for it.
Is it an upset, though?
Yeah, South Carolina ain't ranked.
No, but okay.
And Texas A&M is ranked number 10.
I don't consider that an upset, though.
You out your mind. I need something. Look.
All right, you want proof? All right, let me pull up South Carolina's schedule. All right, let's just go over their losses. Strictly their losses. Lost to LSU 60-3 at home.
Okay.
Ole Miss 27-3 at home, and then lost to Alabama in Tuscaloosa by 2. Take Ole Miss out. Alabama and LSU were on the ropes both times against them. They just couldn't close it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you turn around now. Let's look at their wins. Beating Old Dominion. Old Dominion's actually a really good team. Possibly has a chance to win the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
At Kentucky, 31-6. Akron, 50. They blew out Akron. Everyone blows out Akron.
Right.
Then going into Oklahoma and beating Oklahoma 35-9, and then the Texas A&M game.
It's an upset to me. I
It's an
mean,
upset on ranking on paper, but if this game would have been a bigger upset if it was in Kyle Field. That to me would be an upset. This was a primetime game in Columbus.
mm-hmm.
Or
in Columbia.
Columbia,
Yeah.
sorry.
Um, Texas Tech beating Iowa State by 1, but how about Louisville going into Death Valley and beating up on Clemson?
That
33-21.
puts them, in my opinion, in the front running for the ACC, because as much as they're 4-2 right now, SMU
In conference play.
in conference play. Well, that's all that matters right now. There's 2 teams ahead of them that are undefeated.
Cade Klubnik threw the ball 56 times. That is a serious recipe for disaster. Phil Maffa, 30 carries, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Clemson. But
Okay, I found this disaster
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, never mind. They won't make the playoff. They have the tiebreaker.
Who?
Miami, Louisville. They won't make the conference game.
Yeah, because Miami beat them.
And so did SMU.
Smooth. And they had a big win on Saturday night. Handing Pittsburgh their first loss of the year, 48-25. Kevin Jennings did play in this game. I know there was some concern about him, but he was pretty efficient. 17-25, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they ran the ball pretty effectively too. Brashard Smith, and he was my X factor coming into this game. 23 carries, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I didn't see this coming. I really didn't. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did. Back to the SEC.
Where it means more.
Yeah. Ole Miss putting up 60 on Arkansas. Jackson Dart.
In Fayetteville.
In Fayetteville. Jackson Dart had as many incompletions as he did touchdowns. 6. 25-31, 515 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
And I don't know what's more impressive, them putting up 63 or the defense giving up 31.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And guess who Ole Miss plays next weekend, Ronnie?
That would be
the Dogs.
The UGA.
They play Georgia. And I think I know a guy that might be previewing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But arguably the game of the week, it happened in Happy Valley on Saturday afternoon. Game day was there. And I want to say this about game day, Ronnie. I don't know if you've seen like a lot of them throughout the year now that they're not coaching anymore, but post-coaching, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban need to be protected at all costs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are as laid back, and I think one of us, which we never got to see because they were always so heavily involved with their careers. But, I mean, just seeing Bill Belichick kind of let his top down a little bit. Nick Saban has no filter on College Game Day.
No, and putting him next to McAfee.
That's what makes it even funnier. But Ohio State, Penn State, I've had the privilege of previewing this matchup a total of 8 times now, right? I remember the last time Penn State beat Ohio State. I think it was a couple nights before Halloween. Ohio State was ranked number 2 in the country at the time. And Penn State blocked the kick, pull off the upset. They go on to win the Big Ten East. They go on to win the Big Ten Conference Championship. And guess who gets the nod to the playoffs?
Ohio State.
Yeah, but these two have played in some very epic games. 2017 at the Shoe, Saquon Barkley returning the opening kickoff. But ever since then, it's been all Ohio State in this series, and they won it again. Wasn't a pretty game, but they did what they had to do. They won it 20-13. And I'm just going to come right out and say why Penn State lost this game. They had too many opportunities to put points on the scoreboard, and they didn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
You left too many points on the scoreboard.
They got cute.
And you're kicking field goals instead.
Yeah, they got cute.
Yeah. Will Howard, 16-24, 182 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And yeah, he did throw that pick 6, but I like how he regrouped. Quinshawn Judkins was your leading rusher. 14 carries, 95 yards. And Jeremiah Smith caught 4 receptions, caught 4 passes for 55 yards. The way Penn State started this game, I'm over here thinking to myself, hey, could this be the year that they beat them? But Penn State just always seems to do Penn State things. Now, I saw something interesting in the on social media prior to this game. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Listen to this. So coming into this game, both these head coaches were under an enormous amount of pressure. Ryan Day hadn't beat a top 5 opponent since September 3rd, 2022. That's when Ohio State beat Notre Dame to open up the season.
Right.
James Franklin hadn't beat a top 5 opponent since October 22nd, 2016. He's lost 10 straight games. And guess who that opponent was that James beat?
Ohio State.
Ohio State. One of these men had to break through, and Ryan finally did it. I got to give a lot of credit to Ohio State. Now, one thing I mentioned in my preview on Saturday was whenever Ohio State gets into this game, it's always an individual performance, right? Like 2017, it was JT Barrett. 2018, it was Chase Young. 2019, it was Justin Fields. 21, it was I believe it was Garrett Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. Here, I had it all written down.
I think you're right.
Here, I'm about to go back and look because I mentioned it in my preview. It was JT2. I can't pronounce his last name, but it was JTT in 2022 because he took that game over in Happy Valley.
Right.
And then last year, it was Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
So, you know who it was for me on Saturday?
Who?
It was this offensive line for Ohio State. They had a ton of injuries left and right, and they handled their own predominantly well against a really good defensive front of Penn State. And I'm looking at Drew Allar's numbers right here. 12 of 20, 146 yards passing, and 1 interception. Tyler Warren was your leading rusher. Ohio State won this game with ball control, and they won it with defense.
Yeah.
This is a huge win for Ohio State. To me, this kept their season alive, because if they lost this one, I think the loss against Oregon and then this one, that would have put a smear on their resume.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about football-wise, college football-wise?
So, 3 things. One, have you seen the celebration from the Incarnate Word game that's been going around?
No, I haven't.
So, I forget the kid's name, caught a touchdown pass, did a complete headstand, and fell over and got flagged for it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone thinking it's gone a little bit too far with how celebrations are getting flagged and stuff like that.
Okay.
Congratulations to the teams that have officially gone bowl eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Western Kentucky got bowl eligible last week. Oh god damn it. Vanderbilt with Diego beating Auburn again.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes bowl eligible. Vandy's finally there. And the Huskies of UConn.
Bowl eligible.
6-3 after their beating of Georgia State, and they legitly have a chance to go 8-4 or 9-3.
That's incredible, isn't it?
They have UAB, which Trent Dilfer sucks as a head coach. He should be fired.
Mm-hmm.
At Syracuse, there's your coin flip game. And then they close out the year with UMass.
Wow.
Their only losses are Maryland, Duke, and Wake Forest.
Wow.
I mean, when did we ever think that the UConn Huskies were ever going to win 8? First off, become bowl eligible is one thing. To then possibly have a chance to go 9-3 or 8-4, because they should be, honest to God, favorites two of the next 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse, I can see Syracuse because it's in whatever it is now, the Carrier Dome.
That's what I've always known it as.
Yeah, they changed the name 2 years ago, but it's always the Carrier Dome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they should 8-4. They should be seeing a nice bowl game this year.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that because the first set of college football playoff rankings get revealed tomorrow night.
Yep.
And remember, it's just not 4 anymore. It's 12, and we are done with the AP rankings because moving forward, it'll all be CFP rankings.
They dropped the last one today, or technically the last one today. Oregon is your outright number 1.
So they'll probably be number 1 on
Yep.
the CFP bracket.
So here, I'll just run through it real quick, and then we'll talk about what we think the top 5 is going to be.
Okay.
25 is Louisville. 24 is Vandy.
Okay.
23 is Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
22 is K-State.
Okay.
21 is Colorado. 22 is Wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
19 Clemson. 18 Army. 17 Iowa State. 16 Ole Miss. 15 A&M. 14 LSU. 13 SMU. 12 Boise. 11 Bama. 10 Notre Dame. 9 BYU. 8 Indiana. 7 is Tennessee. 6 is Penn State. Then 5 is Texas. 4 is Miami. 3 is Ohio State. 2 is Georgia. And 1 is Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you want to predict what the top 5 are going to be?
So, pretty much it would be is who do we think is going to make the... Pretty much is who's the top 5 when it comes to the college football playoffs. Because it won't be the top 5 of what we have now.
So it'll be Oregon.
Oregon's going to be 1, then Georgia.
Georgia's going to be 2. Miami will be in there.
I think the top 4 is going to stay the top 4. Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, Miami.
And then I think it's going to be the same 5.
Yeah,
Texas rounds it up.
I
Yeah.
think Penn State is going to be lower. I think actually Penn State is going to drop by Indiana.
Yeah, because Indiana deserves a lot of love.
So I think Tennessee. See, here's the thing that's interesting. Tennessee, Indiana, BYU.
Yeah.
You have 2 teams that are undefeated, but next to Tennessee, who's lost 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
And their loss is kind of a deeper loss than, I mean, Indiana's been blowing teams out.
Left and right.
And they go into the big house next, and then they have Ohio State. There's your play-in for the most part.
Yeah. Now, I know one thing we talked about, before we came on, we were kind of picking each other's minds, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about potential Heisman winners. So, and we'll talk about this with the NFL as well, because we talked about this off the air as well. Who would be your Heisman winner right now? if the season ended?
Hunter.
Okay.
Travis Hunter, because he's playing both sides of the ball and he's playing them well. Now, if, like I said, if I see a record broken as running back, which it looks like it's going to happen, because he's only like 700 yards, and he needs 700 yards in 4 games. Or 5 games, technically. Genty's going to win it. But I think if they can get to the Big 12 title game, and even if they win it and get into the college football playoff, then Hunter's taking it no matter what.
For me, I'm still sticking with Ashton. For me, it's Ashton Genty because, look, I look at the Heisman as an MVP award. And where would Boise State be if it weren't for him?
Right. Well, where would Colorado's defense be without Hunter? I'm not even talking about wide receiver. I'm saying on the other side of the ball.
Yeah. Okay. So we can agree to disagree on that. Anything else you want to?
I think it's going to be interesting because I think Cam Ward's going to play himself out, and I think Dylan Gabriel's going to play himself out. So I really think it's.
I can agree. I can agree with.
I think it's Hunter. It's going to be a two-way road between Hunter and Genty, because I think Curtis Rourke played himself out. Klubnik played himself out. Shador is going to get devoured by Hunter.
Yeah.
And Milroe and Ewers kind of, they
fizzled out.
Yeah, they fizzled out.
Yeah, they both fizzled out. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Anything else you want to add, Ronnie? Before we go to the phone lines.
Is there anything? Not really, because right now it's kind of been stagnant. Iowa is Iowa the second best team in the Big Ten? Real quick.
No.
Really, I think I would not.
I think it's Oregon. It's Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana. Those are the 3 best teams in the Big Ten.
Ranking wise, yeah. I wouldn't want to see Iowa though. Iowa right now is playing the hottest they've ever done. They've been, and it just sucks that they got 3 losses.
Yeah, because they looked dominant against Washington.
Yeah.
Weeks ago, yeah, but we're gonna go to the phone lines right now. When we get back, we're gonna talk a little National Football League. I'm gonna answer some questions. You're gonna hear some music. We're gonna talk about our award winners for the NFL. We did it for college, so we might as well do it for the grown men in the National Football League. We're gonna break down Monday Night Football. I'm gonna promote. And we're going to be on our way. I'm going to go do the prime. Ronnie is, I don't know, going to do something. Probably annoy the hell out of me. But.
It could be worse. Could have been Joanna.
Yeah. Oh, God. On that note, this is Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Blog Talk Radio, and the Nerdport Network.
All right. We're good. Give me about 5 minutes. I got to go order dinner.
Wait, what's on the menu?
Italian. Gonna order from Luigi's.
Nice.
Yeah. So let me go order this, and then I'll be right back.
All right, cool.
this back through. All right,
All
cool.
right. Hold on. Let me just set up on. Let me get the NFL shit up for.
Oh, the reason why I said that is because the player for the Lions scored a touchdown and did that celebration in the end zone.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did the headstand and then just flopped.
That's hilarious. That's hysterical. Okay. All right, I'm good when you are.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
And we're back, man. Huge shout out to all my phone callers. Again, that can be you. If you do want to be featured on Monday Evening Quarterback talking football with me, let me know. And we will get it set up. You can reach out to me personally. If you have my info, email me, c.simpson@thedailyblitz.blog, or contact Ronnie, and Ronnie will let me know. And we could definitely get that going. But this is Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Blog Talk Radio, and the Nerdport Network. If you are liking and enjoying what you are hearing, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We're only going to get better from here. We talk college. Now it's time to talk where a lot of the young men in college aspire to be, which is the National Football League. And Ronnie, you already know where I'm starting.
Buffalo?
No.
I don't know where.
Your neck of the woods.
The Jets. Or the Giants.
No, the Jets. There's nothing to talk about with the Giants, but unfortunately, we will get to them. The Jets finally won a football game, and they beat a pretty good football team. Then again, Houston came into that game on Thursday very injured. Aaron Rodgers looked good. 22 of 32, 211 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That catch that Garrett Wilson made, he hit him with the Jumpman logo.
I love how they even referenced it. They go, yeah, I think Michael's going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, Michael Jordan has a problem with everything.
I mean, he takes everything personally.
I do too, but not in the aspect he does.
No.
I'm more of the, I remember when you said it, what time you said it, the day you said it, the dates you said it, and what you were wearing. I go that far.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
But remember what I said about Aaron Rodgers. He can't throw the ball over 35 times. Between 30 to 35 times, I think is perfect. Devontae Adams, he had himself a pretty good game. 7 receptions, 91 yards, and caught a touchdown. And that touchdown
is what clinched it.
That touchdown he caught because he literally, Houston ran an all-out blitz. And if you know anything about the MEQ Ryans, he loves to blitz. And he's paid for it because he did that last year against Baltimore. And that's how the Texans ended up in Cancun.
Yeah.
Because on that touchdown to Devontae, he literally had no safety in the middle of the field. So Aaron knew, hey, my guy out there is on an island, one-on-one, no safety help. I know he's going to win that. And what happened?
Smoked him.
Breece Hall, only 74 yards rushing, but Houston's one of the better run defenses in the National Football League. Can I talk about Malachi Corley?
Please do.
Real quick.
Please do.
Cross the plane, young man. Seriously. You know what? I give him a little benefit of the doubt because he's still a rookie. And that really is a rookie mistake. But if you're in your 4th and 5th year and you're still doing things like that, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
But just be more aware.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a boneheaded play. But
yeah,
I mean, the Jets look good, and they're 3-6. Nothing to scream home about. But they got 2 winnable games getting into the. honest to God, coming out of the break, they have a lot of winnable games. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games they could win.
I know they play Arizona next week.
So here's what they got.
Trap game.
Yeah, they're at Arizona.
I see them losing that one.
Then they're home against the Colts.
That one they'll win.
Then they're bye, and then they go into their final stretch with Seahawks at Miami, at Jacksonville, home against the Rams, at Buffalo. I'm not touching that one. And then ends this season against Miami at home.
So I could see them. I think they lose to Buffalo.
So I have, like I said, them going 6-3 or 6-6 would have to be they beat Arizona, which the Arizona's a coin flip game.
That's a trap game, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, it's a coin flip. Game. Literally, the matchup projection is 50-50.
Yeah, I believe it. Oh, so it's a pick'em, pretty much.
Pretty much, it might be Arizona. So if I had to guess odd-wise, I'm going to say it's Arizona -1 because of home field.
Yeah. On the Houston side, CJ Stroud, you want to know how petty the internet is, Ronnie?
How?
Somebody said that CJ Stroud came into this game dressed like Anthony Richardson.
Wow.
Meaning he didn't have a good game. 11 of 30, 191 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Mixon, 24 carries, a $106, and scored a touchdown. And Tank Dell was your leading receiver, 126 yards, receiving on 6 receptions and 9 targets. They're thin at wide receiver. Nico Collins has been out for a good minute. And Stephon Diggs, unfortunately, tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I bet you if Stephon Diggs were playing in this game
would have been a little bit different.
It's different.
Yeah.
I think it's different.
Jets might have still won, but it would have meant a lot for the field goal kicker.
CJ Stroud was also sacked 8 times.
For 56 yards. Yep.
Yeah. The Jets needed this win in the worst way possible.
This is what you call, maybe for the Jets, this might be what you call momentum shift.
Yeah.
Now you have that confidence. You're going out to Arizona. And Arizona is a dominantly heavy passing team.
Yeah.
Your weakness is running. You should be able to beat them. Do not let Connors beat you.
Mm-hmm.
But then you come back, if you win the next 3, coming out of the break against Seattle, Colts, you got to beat Flacco. It's a Sunday night game. It's not going to be Richardson.
Unless they flex out of it, depending on where both teams are.
Yeah. And then you run into Miami, Jacksonville, and L.A.
Say it right.
Yeah, L.A. I mean, they are terrible. And by that point, you could be 8-6.
Yeah.
And then you have Buffalo and Miami, which, I mean, if you can go 8-8 and be 500 going into the final game of the year, I mean, or
who knows what could happen.
8-7, then yeah, everything's up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a must-win for the Jets.
And especially with how bad the bottom of the AFC is.
Yeah, very true. Sticking in the AFC, what was supposed to be the game of the day yesterday on paper ended up being a blowout. I'm talking about the Broncos coming into Baltimore to play the Ravens. This was what I call a battle of strength facing strength because Denver's defense has been absolutely phenomenal this year. They, coming into this game, they had only given up 4.4 yards per play, which was the fewest in the National Football League. And on the other side, you have Baltimore, who had averaged over 7 yards per play, which is the most in the league. Somebody was going to have to bend, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it looked like Denver was going to make it interesting, but Baltimore got back to the basics. One, can I just say this? This is the best I've seen Lamar Jackson ever look.
Well,
And
look who's behind him.
yeah. And I said this in my preview of this game on Friday. The reason why I can't take the Baltimore Ravens so seriously is because of the way they lost that game last weekend against Cleveland.
Yeah. Which, talk about biting the pillow on Cleveland.
Right. Because you look at that winning streak when Baltimore won, 5 games in a row?
Yeah.
Who was the catalyst of that winning streak? Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick.
When they lost, in the 3 games that the Ravens have lost, Baltimore has failed to feed him the ball. Derrick Henry can't have an impact on 17 carries. I think he needs to touch the ball between 19 to 25 times. And yesterday against Denver, he touched the ball 23 times for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that first touchdown of his was his 100th touchdown of his Hall of Fame career. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, first ballot.
When it's all said and done. Zay Flowers, 5 receptions, $127 and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 16 and 19, 280 and 3 touchdowns. To me, this is the best all-around game that the Ravens have played since they beat Buffalo. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna come right out and say it. This Ravens defense isn't as strong as it's been in the past. They really don't have the pass rush up front. The secondary is absolutely horrible because they give up a lot of big plays down the field. And they're missing key guys from last year. Patrick Queen, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Geno Stone, he's a Cincinnati Bengal. Mike McDonald was their defensive coordinator last year, and he's the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks now. Yeah. Bo Nix, don't want to say he really looked like a rookie, but 19 to 33, 223 yards passing, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Cortland Sutton was your leading receiver, 122 yards on 7 receptions. I'm going to say this about Baltimore. With the way they play defense against the pass, they will not beat Kansas City, and they won't beat Buffalo again. Especially with Buffalo having Amari Cooper now.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, though. Because looking this over, there's like 10 teams that all have 2 wins.
Okay.
The NFL, we want to talk about how there's parity in the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are all these teams so bad?
I don't know. But you know the NFL is the most unpredictable sport out of them all.
Yeah, well, granted, the AFC's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that are 2-7.
Yeah.
2-6, 2-7. There's only 3 in NFC.
Interesting. This is a good bounce back win for the Baltimore Ravens. This was one that they needed to get back on track. I love what I'm seeing from Lamar because he's trusting his receivers a little bit more, and with a bell cow like Derrick Henry, he doesn't have to run it as much. Coming into this game, Denver was undefeated on the East Coast because they beat the Jets and they beat up on Tampa Bay, remember?
Right.
Yeah. Now, sticking with the AFC, the Browns losing to the Chargers, that was actually my upset pick, and it didn't happen. So I'm not happy. I'm upset. Pun intended. Justin Herbert, 18 to 27, 282, 2 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, 85 yards on 14 carries. And Quentin Johnston, 4 receptions, 118 yards, and 1 touchdown. It was not a good day for Jameis yesterday. He threw a few interceptions. If it would load up for me. But yeah, he threw about 2 or 3 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. Cleveland's one of those 2-7 teams you were just talking about, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm looking up because my computer just decided it wanted to take a deuce.
What did you want? The Cleveland, the Browns?
So Jameis Winston threw 3 interceptions.
Yep. Famous Jameis.
He was sacked 6 times.
Famous Jameis was in postseason form.
No Jameis slander.
I'm just saying, he had the best chance of getting that team to win, and he looked like Jameis.
Yeah, but one thing I will say about San Diego, I mean LA, I knew I was going to get that wrong eventually.
Listen, it's like calling the Commanders the Redskins.
You're not wrong. The Chargers have a good defense. I will say that much. And they showed it yesterday, winning that game 27 to 10. Sticking in the AFC, there was a pretty entertaining game in Nashville yesterday. Patriots, Titans. Kind of dubbed that the Vrabel Bowl.
Yeah,
Mike Vrabel played for the Patriots, and he played for, and he coached the Tennessee Titans. Now, I knew this was going to be an ugly game, right? I just know it. But one thing I got to give New England a lot of credit for, they play hard. They really do. And did you see that play? To send it into overtime, Drake May had forever in a day.
No, I did not. That was the one game I missed.
You need to go and watch that. He had forever in a day to throw the ball. And I don't want to say he heaved it up, but he just put it in the direction of someone that had on the same uniform as him. And he just caught it, but New England couldn't hold on. They ended up losing that game 20-17. New England's 2-7. Mason Rudolph, 20 of 33, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tony Pollard had himself a nice day. 28 carries, 128 yards, and no touchdowns. Drake May was the leading rusher for New England, 95 yards. And you know how I feel about quarterbacks being the leading rusher, as well as the leading passer. For 2 teams who have been struggling, why was this the most entertaining game of the day?
Because usually when they're struggling, there's usually positive that come out of it.
Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. The Bengals beat up on the Raiders 41-24. Joe Burrow has put together, if Joe Burrow had a winning record, let me reword that. If Joe Burrow was on a team with a winning record right now, what I'm saying is, if the Bengals had a winning record, he'd be the front runner for MVP.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal this year. He threw 5 touchdowns. Well, it's easy to pick apart the Raiders. Stevie Wonder could do that. The Bengals also ran the ball. Chase Brown, 27 carries, 120 yards. As a team, they ran the ball for 130 yards. And Mike Gesicki, 100 yards receiving on 5 receptions. And most importantly, he got the gritty right. Because, look, he could not be there with that stiff gritty. And Jamar Chase is right there. So I know Jamar taught him a thing or two.
Yeah, right.
The Bengals are 4-5. Are you giving up on the Bengals, or you think they still have a mountain to climb?
Again, like I said, with the AFC, with how bad the AFC is,
Mm-hmm.
you can't give up on anybody. Because I mean, the fact that I'm saying the Jets being 3-6 still have a shot of making the playoffs, it's still anybody's race to get in the top 7. Now, is the division out of reach? Surprisingly, no, because they're only 2 out of first.
And they actually have a huge game on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Against the Baltimore Ravens. That should be very interesting.
Their next 3 games are huge.
Let me hear it.
At the Ravens.
Okay.
At the Chargers.
Okay.
And then home against Pittsburgh.
See, part of me thinks they could beat the Chargers.
Oh no, but I'm saying it's 2 division games that can get them towards the first place in their division, and then the Chargers, which is a wild card game. Because the Chargers are fighting for a wild card spot too. So if they can get the tiebreaker over the Chargers.
Yeah, because see, the reason why I think they would beat the Chargers is because I don't know if the Chargers can keep up with Burrow in a shootout. That's the only reason why I'd say they could beat them. And it would be in LA as well.
Yeah.
And the Chargers just never seem to have any type of home field when they're home. It's like more fans of the opposing team are there supporting their team when they play the Chargers. You don't necessarily see that with LA. Sticking in the AFC, another entertaining game of the day. This may have been the best one I've seen not just yesterday, but all season. Miami and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now, when they played in week 2, Buffalo beat up on Miami, and that was when Tua got hurt, and that's when all the debates were, should Tua hang it up? No, he shouldn't play anymore. Stuff like that. Josh Allen has owned the Buffalo Bills. I mean, the Miami Dolphins since becoming the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, this is a la Aaron Rodgers during his Packer days with the Bears, and Dak Prescott against the Giants, because he has a good record against the Giants, especially at MetLife. And this is even Tom Brady against the Buffalo Bills, because Tom owned Buffalo during his playing days. I thought Miami was about to pull an upset. I really did.
Yeah.
But Buffalo was able to escape. Josh Allen, 25 of 39, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was only sacked once. Tua had himself a pretty good game. He was pretty efficient. 25 of 28, 231 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns. James Cook was the leading rusher for Buffalo with 44 yards on 10 carries, and Devin Achane was the leading rusher for Miami. I think they're a better offense when they feature Devin Achane more. That's just me.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill had 80 yards on 4 receptions. Buffalo just always seems to keep him in check when they play him. It came down to a penalty and a field goal. So the penalty was on Jordan Poyer. I don't know if you saw that. He used to play.
Yeah, part of it.
He used to play for the Buffalo Bills. And it was helmet to helmet on Keon Coleman. And I knew the minute that happened, the flag was coming. You know how it is these days. Tyler Bass kicked a 61-yard field goal. And my question to Tyler is, why couldn't you do this in the playoffs when it mattered in January?
Right.
But Buffalo was 7-2, and they are running away with the AFC East. Like I told a certain somebody. Yeah, I know. In the NFC, the Panthers beat the Saints 23-22. And former Saint Michael Thomas had some words about Derek Carr. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did.
How do you feel about that?
Listen, it is what it is. Until you can show me that you can actually
Stay healthy.
You gotta let the words fly as they may.
I don't know. New Orleans is a mess. I don't think Derek Carr is the answer, nor is Dennis Allen. And I'll be very shocked if they decide to keep Dennis Allen past this season. I don't think they will. Alvin Kamara had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
He ran for 155 yards, and Derek Carr didn't have a bad game, but it wasn't eye-popping. 18 to 31, 236 yards.
He's better than
Spencer Rattler?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really saying a lot.
No, but
that ain't really saying anything. The biggest news of this game was Chris Olave being carted off the field after taking a hit to the head, and that pass is known as a hospital ball. Because if you're going over the middle and they throw that ball a little too high and your guy gets leveled, 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, the cart's coming out and he's going to go to the hospital. Hence the nickname, hospital ball. I'm wishing the best to Chris. I think this is his 4th or 5th concussion since.
It's usually, if it's that many, it's shortened careers.
Right. The Commanders beat the Giants. The Giants are 2-7 for like the 5th time in 6 years. Jaden Daniels, 15 to 22, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they did it without Brian Robinson, but then again, they had Austin Eckler. The Falcons beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 3-5.
Well, we're missing the biggest news out of that.
Dak Prescott got hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hamstring.
I thought it was his hand.
No. I will give you exact what he's out with. Hamstring.
Oh, wow.
Prescott injured hamstring and lost against the Falcons. Felt something pull.
Wow. Yeah, because I saw the medical guys working on his throwing hand.
Maybe he hit something too, but apparently he heard something pop.
Uh-oh.
Oh, not pop, but strain, so.
And there's nothing you can do on a football field with a strained muscle.
And the next 3 games, you might not see him play because they might just take the L's on this. Because it's Eagles, Texans, Commanders.
Yeah, I don't see them winning either one of those.
And then he comes back he would come back probably against the Giants on Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
What is the Thanksgiving game this year?
I think the Bears play the Lions.
Shocking.
The Giants play the Cowboys. I'm looking right at it. And the Dolphins play Green Bay.
Okay.
I like what I'm seeing from Atlanta. No. Them getting rid of Arthur Smith, I think, was the best thing. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. 19 to 24, 222 yards, and 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, Dallas ain't making the playoffs.
No.
No, they're not. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, Ronnie, we were talking about awards when we talked off the microphone before we got together for the show today.
Yes.
You want to run down the list? Let's do it.
Actually, they took off the list too.
Okay.
So
all right,
yeah.
I'll ask you, and then I'll piggyback off what you said.
Okay.
So, league MVP.
Right now, it's looking like it's a toss-up. I got Jared Goff.
Okay.
Playing the best that he's ever. He's playing the best that he's ever been playing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if the what's it called? If they go like what's Detroit's record right now? Detroit is
7-1 or 6-1. I think.
Yeah. If they go 6-1. If they go say 14-2.
Mm-hmm.
How can't you give it to Goff? Goff right now is literally he doesn't. His receivers don't drop the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's three candidates. Well, no, really four.
Yeah.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and Henry's obviously the dark horse.
Right. But if I had to give a winner right now, it would be I would give it to Josh Allen. He just threw his first interception yesterday.
Oh, by the way, quick thing about Lamar, perfect passer rating.
Yeah, I think Josh and Lamar right now are my two favorites.
Yeah.
Okay. Offensive player of the year.
Henry.
I agree. And Saquon is knocking at the door too.
Yeah, Saquon might be taking some time off before that, so who the hell knows?
Right. Okay. Offensive rookie of the year. Do we really need to?
Jalen.
Really? Yeah, I mean, come on now. Okay. Defensive rookie of the year.
It's either gonna be Latu or it's gonna be
Jarrett Verse.
Verse, yeah.
That's who my vote would be. Yeah. Coach of the year.
It really depends on how the season plays out, but right now my vote would go to Quinn.
I feel three guys, maybe four, should be considered for the award. Dan Quinn.
Yep.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yep.
Dan Campbell.
Yep.
And
Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. I give it to Dan Quinn right now because remember,
besides me, no one had Washington doing anything.
Yeah, we don't care.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't. Ain't nobody care. Yeah, what Dan Quinn's done with this team has been remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, for MVP, I know I said those guys are my front runners, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But right now, I give the edge to Josh because just how he's taking care of the ball, and they also have the better record.
Right.
Yeah, Buffalo 7-2. This may be the best I think I've seen Josh look since 2020.
And you know what? I'll say this: the one thing that might hurt Detroit is their defense. It hurt Goff from getting MVP is their defense.
Not if they go get a pass rusher.
Meaning, their defense is scoring as
much as their offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't do defensive player of the year.
Oh, that's TJ Watt all day.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying we didn't do it. So.
That's TJ Watt.
Yeah.
All day. I mean, and Fred Warner will probably be a close number 2. He's put together a pretty good year. Yeah, that's TJ Watt all day, every day. You knew he was going to come in playing pissed off.
Yeah. And then finally, comeback player of the year.
Um, I'm gonna go Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that.
How could you go against him? Seriously,
I mean,
like Sam Darnold he's been.
Was Saquon hurt last year?
I don't know, but I think a lot of people expected Saquon to kind of have a bounce back year.
But I'm just saying, because of how it is, like, it's, if, I have to see because Vegas took that down because obviously Monday night, the game hasn't been played yet, so they're going to put everything up on Tuesday. You're not seeing, it's between Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, and if Saquon was hurt, it's going to be Barkley. Barkley's going to be up there because he's having a bounce back year from.
He is.
So, I mean, it should be Sam Darnold. Because if Minnesota makes the playoffs, then Sam Darnold's the reason they're there. And especially with the fact that no one had hit because he wasn't starting.
Mm-hmm.
He was the backup too. So, and to bring him in, and then you still have JJ sitting in the wings now because of his torn hamstring.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be Sam Darnold. For me. But nah, I'm looking at that. Is that pretty much everything?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Anything else? Let me see if I got questions before we wrap this thing up.
I mean, there's no real thoughts on the Monday night game because
look, if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were playing, I'd probably say Tampa could potentially upset them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's the big thing because of all the injuries and stuff like that to Tampa and even Kansas City. This game, as much as this game is KC 7-0, Tampa Bay needing this win to get it doesn't have its staying power that it should.
Exactly. I think Kansas City, they win this one. I just think across the board, defensively, they're going to be they're going to throw a lot of pressure at Baker Mayfield. Listen, Kansas City is one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Yep. And
with that being said,
yep, that's it.
I'm ready to wrap. I'm ready to call this in. You ready?
Yep. Bring it home.
We thank you guys so much for tuning in to Monday Evening Quarterback. We hope that you enjoy this episode. You enjoy listening to this episode just as much as we have fun recording this episode. To always follow along, log on to the site and become a subscriber today, which is the dailyblitz.blog. Anything I post will come to your email directly. Follow us on Twitter at dailyblitz_61. And follow us on Instagram, which is, I always get it wrong, which is the Daily Blitz 61. You can follow my personal Instagram page as well, which is the football analyst _61. Keep up with me on the airwaves every Monday night and Tuesday night. Catch me on Prime Sports World with David On Point, CJ Hopkins, Israel Rivera, and Matt James. Wednesdays, you can catch me back on the Nerdport with Ronnie, with John Danzo, and Ryan Shaw for the betting window. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss. We're going to look back, and then we're going to look ahead to picking games for college football and the NFL. Every Thursday morning, you can catch me on Snowman in the Morning on Snowman Multimedia Group with Brian Snow. That's every Thursday morning at 8:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Fridays, you can catch me on College Football Showdown on Prime Sports World with Israel Rivera, Matt James, and I think my guy came back. Well, I hope he'll come back on. My guy Steve Sufferdon used to contribute for his show for SportsTownChicago.com called The Great Debate. One of my favorite shows to contribute for. Well, every show I've worked on has always been great to me. I wouldn't be in this position without them. So you can catch me on all of those shows throughout the week. As always, I end with shout outs. So huge shout out to my family, my incredible mom, and my beautiful little sister Taylor. Thank you guys for all you do. My son, better known as my dog, Siebes, he was in here, but he decided to run out, probably because I wasn't giving him attention, but he'll be okay. My dad, always supporting. Thank you, and thank you. Love you, love all of you for life. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, Daphne, Brandon, Keith, and Keith just actually celebrated a birthday last week. Man, happy birthday, big guy. I will see you soon. Give the kids my love. Some of my other people that I'm close with, Robert Butler, Candace Carter, Jason Tyree, Kimmel Fryer, Mike Griffin, Rob Carter, Alex Bennett, Corey Harris, Deshaun Elliott, Kevin Cooper, his wife, Lynn, and their beautiful daughter, Evelyn, Josh, Diana, and their three beautiful daughters, Tiffany, Natalie, and Madison. Cole Johnson, better known as Coach, my co-analyst, and our moderator, D. I know we'll have a lot to discuss and talk about throughout the week. Find out what I am previewing tomorrow on the site. I will post everything. And I know what it is, and this is a pretty nice schedule. And I can't wait to reveal it to you guys. This has been another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback. If you liked what you've heard, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I thank you guys for supporting the Daily Blitz movement. I'm off to go do the Prime. I don't know what Ronnie's about to go do. Probably bother me in about an hour or so, which is fine because I ain't doing nothing but just going to the Prime.
I'll probably be streaming.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Just don't scream too loud that they call the cops on you. Remember, Election Day is tomorrow. Please get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. Your opinion matters. Your voice matters.
Even if you don't want to vote for something that's huge, vote for the questions. At least.
Bingo. And when things aren't right, I don't want to hear any complaining about, oh, we did this isn't changing and that isn't changing. Your voice could have been heard. There's a lot of power in a ballot. Man, I remember Ronnie being in Illinois, 2008, John McCain, Barack Obama. I missed that election by 39 days. Yeah. My first time voting was 2012. When it was Obama and Mitt Romney. But again, just get out there and vote.
Obama.
Cast your ballot and go from there. And that's all I have. Happy election
People
day.
need to stop blowing up ballot boxes.
Yeah, and that too. Happy Election Day Eve. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We will see you here next week. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great rest of the evening. Continue to send me your football questions, and I will get back to you. This has been another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback.